People a few minutes to join in. What are you doing for Thanksgiving, Jamie? We were just talking about it.
Just hanging close to home. Not really a big thing for us.
Yeah. Thank you, but I like it.
Mhm.
Hmm. Here or not.
I love that everyone's note takers follow follow after. You have a whole staff of note takers.
I know, you think they could just consolidate it into one at some point. Alrighty, we'll just give it 2 more minutes as people join in and we'll get started. You could join, meetings, but I'll. Just make sure you read, because I keep leaving my. The whole room, yeah. Alrighty. We can go ahead and get started. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our November Regional Environmental Coordination meeting. Really appreciate you being here today. Just a quick note, the meeting is being recorded. And movement to the welcome. Just as a quick reminder, this is a quarterly meeting and it typically includes a speaker presentation, TJPDC program updates, and then an open roundtable discussion. And the goal is to promote regional collaboration, shared knowledge, and better connect you with the TJPDC's internal environmental programming. And we always want to keep these meetings engaging for you, so I always appreciate your feedback on what topics or organizations you'd like to hear from. If there's any grants that you'd like to learn more about in these meetings, are there other stakeholders you think should be involved, and anything that we can do to help with your environmental initiatives or what can make these meetings most valuable to you. So feel free to just bring it up in our discussion or shoot me an email, call me, and I'll also share a link to our Padlet, which is just an online platform that helps me collect your feedback all in one place. And I'll send that in the follow-up email as well. So yeah, just again, your feedback and engagement are really appreciated and what makes these meetings worthwhile. So before we start today's presentation, we can just go through a quick round of introductions. And I was thinking today we can just share our name, position, and then something that we're looking forward to next week with the holidays coming up. So I'm Isabella O'Brien, Regional Planning at TJPDC, and I'm really looking forward to my mom's pineapple cheddar cheese Ritz cracker casserole that she always makes for Thanksgiving. It sounds so weird, but it's always so good.
Logan, I'm a regional planner with TJPDC as well. I am looking forward to, I'm gonna go to the Virginia Tech, Virginia football game with my family. We're mostly Tech fans, I'm a UVA fan, and my whole life we've gotten just, obliterated. So hopefully this year will be a little bit different for us.
Brent Burnett with the Charlottesville Emergency Management, and it'll be nice just to see some nieces and nephews.
Jamie Powers, Climate Action Program Manager with Albemarle County. Just looking forward to some space.
Tori Kanalopoulos on the range planning team with the city of Charlottesville. And I'm picking up 2 pie chest pies next week, which I am super excited about. If you're in Charlottesville, she still makes them a couple times a year and they're great.
Good to know. I had no idea. Moving online, Greg, I see you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to whatever secret thing my wife has made for Thanksgiving. She always goes overboard when it comes to fancy foods and stuff, and I'm just a day-to-day cooker, and she does the special meals.
Tom,
Hi, I'm Tom Eglin. I'm a deputy director for Louisa County's Community Development Department. My wife's family farm, we're going to host everybody on both sides of the family pretty much. And I'm looking forward to the nieces and nephews feeding horse cookies to the horses, while my wife, kind of also goes overboard and cooks for more people than we have. So looking forward to that, per usual.
love it. Taylor,
Hi, I'm Taylor Vitti. I'm a coastal resilience planner with the Middle Peninsula Planning District Commission. And despite the word planner being in my name, the wife plans all things around Thanksgiving. I believe we're going to her family farm this year, but not sure because she manages that. I go where she tells me.
love that. Thank you so much for joining us. Rachel?
Hi, I'm Rachel Peabody. I'm the acting executive director of the Middle Peninsula Planning District Commission. And we are doing a South Florida Thanksgiving this year. We will be fishing and eating stone crabs. So I'm looking forward to some sun and some water and some nature.
Alex Porter?
Hi. So the question was, what are you doing for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, what are you looking forward to next week?
I'll be staying in Richmond with my family, and everybody's got a little bit of something out to make for dinner. My portion is going to be the apple cider sangria, and I'll be baking the bread.
That sounds great. Great. Love to hear that. Thank you for sharing. So next we will welcome Rachel Peabody and Taylor from the Middle Peninsula Planning District Commission. Rachel is here to share a bit about the MPPDC's award-winning initiative known as Fight the Flood. And this program connects homeowners to critical funding solutions and promotes coastal resilience. We heard feedback from one of these previous meetings that you were interested in hearing more about the work of other PDCs across Virginia. And while Central Virginia is not necessarily a coastal area, this program offers a scalable template that can be adapted to provide various solutions here locally. The Fight the Flood program represents the best practice in multi-jurisdictional planning. Since its inception in 2020, it has successfully connected property owners with over 52 million in assistance and technical assistance. So I'll pass it over to you, Rachel, to kick us off.
Thanks for having me. So I'm going to share my screen because I have some links to some videos and they're going to pop up YouTube. So we're just going to go back and forth between the two. But I appreciate your guys' interest in the Fight the Flood program. It's something that we are very proud of, that seems to continue to gain energy, and our ability to reach into the community to really help with our resilience work. So I'll get us started. My background before I came to the PDC was I worked at the Virginia Marine Resources Commission in the commissioner's office as the policy lead there, or the regulatory divisions. And I've been watching Fight the Flood from the beginning, and was always very interested in actually being able to do the work. And working with people like Taylor who are doing that work. So I'm excited to present it. So the Fight the Flood program is started with a concept, but essentially what it does is it connects Middle Peninsula residents with options for funding, the expertise, and the practical solutions that are needed to reduce flood risk. So the Middle Peninsula region, we are a coastal community, the lowest lying coastal community in Virginia, right next there to Norfolk. And the biggest problem that we're facing for the future of our communities is flooding. Specifically retaining tax base in these large coastal areas that are experiencing higher waters every day. So this program was built to protect property, strengthen resilience, and adapt to raising water, and not fully accepting that our only option is to run away. So we are the first flood resilience marketplace. So we are a web-based marketplace, how we started at the very beginning. We connect property owners with contractors, financing, and solutions. And it's designed specifically for rural communities, but can be expanded into whatever type of need is happening in a region. And the point of this was to not only look at natural resource management from a natural resource management perspective, but to look at it from an economic development perspective, where water, in our case, is an asset. And the only way to continue to adapting is to bring those businesses in that can assist our residents. So the types of flooding that we're dealing with in rural coastal Virginia are rainfall, groundwater surge, and stormwater. All three of those things could be happening on the same property that we need to be able to adapt to. We are one of the fastest rising water levels on the East Coast. We have challenges both inland and waterfront properties. And again, this program is created to help residents adapt and protect that private and public property. So our vision is to create a flood resilient Middle Peninsula where communities thrive in harmony with the environment, which is protected, prepared, and positioned for a sustainable future. Our mission is Fight the Flood empowers homeowners, businesses, and local governments to reduce flood risk through the way that they choose that they want to reduce flood risk, and build coastal resilience through education, access to resources, and strategic partnerships. We work to protect property, preserve natural landscapes, and support sustainable economic development across our region. So here you can see kind of where it all begins. This is the front page of our website, which is fightthefloodva.com. And as a user, you come in and it kind of tells you what our options are at the top. But if you're a homeowner, you can come in and we have a GIS system attached to this website. And you can tell us what kind of problems are you experiencing at your property. So if you had a problem, if you go to I have a flooding problem, it brings up a survey. It asks you specifically, what are your problems? How urgent are they? Where are they? This creates a GIS database on our background that allows us to continue doing planning, apply for grants, understand those biggest needs, provide that data to our partners within our region. On the other side of this is if you are a business and you're interested in doing resilience work, and we have a wide range of resilience work, we have a portion of the website that allows you to do your marketing and can connect you directly to those residents that have existing issues. We also, almost all of our grant programs now run through the Fight the Flood program. So as we are onboarding new grants, the first thing that we go to is our Fight the Flood program GIS layer for people who have told us they already have the needs, so that we can help fund the solutions. And then we also have a revolving loan program. So if we don't have grants available, we do have a low interest loan program, which is the rate is half of prime. And we have those for septic and living shorelines. And we run internally in our agency an entire loan. We have outstanding about $1.5 million worth of loans that we're offering to our residents. So I'm going to show you a quick video. Oh, and I'm going to let Taylor, he's going to hop in really quick.
I just wanted to hop in really quickly. I wanted to touch on a few things that the survey does. So it also, on the back, the last question is number 7, and that is, do you want to donate your property? Like, we have some people that are like, I'm done. It's like the first managed retreat program that I'm aware of where we'll donate it to like the public access. They can donate to the public access authority. And then also additionally, one of the points I wanted to bring up was, just like the different needs, it could be from home elevation to living shoreline to septic, just that coastal nature that we have. It helps have a pool of people that actually want to do the work, because a lot of like planning entities and academics will want to do that work where they'll do a lot of work and spend millions of dollars to tell us where it should go, but at the end of the day, most of these projects are happening on private property, so it's the homeowner who is going to be determined if they want to do it or not. And often you find the people that come in the door are the people with the most urgent need, the people that are like, my house is 6 feet away from a 30-foot sheer cliff that's eroding into the river. While we may not be able to tear it down under a particular grant, we can offer a living shoreline in front of it, in our loan program. Generally, when people have an immediate need, like a septic that's about to go into the river because of erosion, we can loan for that living shoreline to help protect that septic, before it goes in the river. Which the last one I paid for on a grant, $87,000. So they can be quite expensive in our region due to poor soils and water tables coming up. So just wanted to chime in a little bit. I'll let you play a video now.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Let me see if I can get the video to play. Let's see. Well. Okay, I'll skip over this video and then I'll find if Taylor, do you mind trying to find it in the background? This is the only one that I didn't make the link to because it was working last that I had it.
Do you know which video it is?
This is the
That'll
big,
understand.
like the very dramatic Fight the Flood program
Okay.
video.
I'll find that and get that to you.
Okay, I'll keep moving then. We'll bring you the drama after. Okay, so the history of the Fight the Flood program, in about 5 to 7 years ago, the commission came to the existing executive director at the time and said, your number one priority needs to be to not let our people drown on your watch. This is the biggest problem that we need to handle, and we need to find a solution for it. So the concept started there with launching the Fight the Flood program. And it started very basic of how do we create a funnel of moving money through a portal and businesses through a portal and getting it to those who need it. So the creation of the Fight the Flood baseline started with money from DCR, Virginia Resources Authority, who manages our revolving loans. The Department of Environmental Quality has helped us considerably with many of our shoreline grants. One of the biggest continued partnerships we have is the Coastal Zone Management Program, which gives us technical capacity to continue doing the work. In 2021, we refined our financial assistance applications. So we started creating the different types of loan products that we offer. And we've been offering septic since, I think, the early 2000s or the 90s loans. But in 2021, we brought in our living shoreline loan programs. We also developed the mapping software that we now use in the back end that is the data that drives us. And it's been very helpful for us to understand what the needs of the people are and to start flowing those needs into our plans and programs. By 2022, we had already moved about $18 million in grants through our program to those in need. Those are private properties, public properties within the region. And then by 2023, we had about 170 applications that went to grant programs. And right now we're sitting at moving through about $54 million in flood protection that we've moved through our program for on the ground projects. We have probably right now another pending just for this year, about 25 million that we have pending moving through. So as Taylor was alluding to, we want to offer solutions. The goal is to not talk about what's needed or to create policy about telling people what's needed, but to actually offer the solutions. And we have a whole list of solutions that we offer through the program. That can be dredging. So we have a new program that we're building a regional dredge program where we're going to be the tiny U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for the region. And we plan to use the dredge material when possible from that dredging program onto many of our habitat restoration projects. So we're working on policies and regulatory development and all of those to work through there. We offer structural solutions. We don't actually offer them. Our businesses offer structural solutions. Our businesses offer water monitoring, shoreline solutions, stormwater solutions. We're working right now to develop insurance products, and we just received a new grant to work on parametric insurance, which I'll explain in a little bit. And we have a longstanding septic solution program. Septics are probably the number one issue that we are dealing with. That's very quiet in our rural localities. 90%, I think, of all of the residents in our region are serviced by their own septic systems. And with rising groundwaters, we're seeing those need major retrofits. So that's kind of the quiet resilience need. We also have our Fight the Flood businesses, and we've been focusing a lot this year on helping our businesses market. But the Fight the Flood businesses are our biggest partners in this process. Again, they're able to offer and be connected at any time. Taylor is our kind of Fight the Flood business liaison. So we're continuously building partnerships with them. We're including them in all of our RFPs. When we build our RFPs, we're giving them extra points. Everything we do is to support the economic development of this concept. So we just created this little Fight the Flood business badge that people can put on their websites as well as on any of their marketing. We just developed some new swag, which we're going to give out this Friday. Of different opportunities for marketing. And then we have our first Fight the Flood business roundtable tomorrow, actually, where we're going to bring our businesses into us and start utilizing them more to build out the future of our program. And we also have a little bit of economic development money that we're using in order to figure out what are their needs to actually build their physical. So many of our businesses are outside of our region and come into our region to work. We want them to stay and build their physical businesses in our region. So we're working on a number of plans to do that. We have built a new building in Queen County that we call Hub 33. And this is like a teleworking building that either and can utilize our meeting rooms. And we're hoping that this will turn into kind of the regional resilience building that we can offer to our companies, as well as people that want to stop by and meet our companies. Taylor, were you able to find them? Okay.
All right, let me go ahead and share the screen. Yeah.
Thanks.
And now if I can minimize.
I don't think we are hearing this. If you stop sharing and then reshare, there should be a little box to click right before you share a screen that's like including sound. I figured that out last week.
Helpful
Okay.
tip.
Stop sharing. All right. Share. I see the screen. No. Can anyone hear me? Where do I need to click? Can you see my screen? Where do I need to click?
It's like before you screen share.
Okay.
There's a little box, but I might be able to pull it up from your website.
I can throw it to you in the chat.
Yeah, that would be perfect. Maybe I can do that.
Share. Copy link. Stop sharing. There you go.
Hopefully they don't, they won't all go this way. The other ones were working.
Blue sound, yeah, it's like right at the top, right before I click share, there's a little top. Okay.
Sea level rise, coastal flooding, battered shorelines. Far too often, when you hear the media talking about sea level rise, their tone is futuristic, like it's the trailer for a movie. But on the Middle Peninsula, in rural coastal Virginia, the movie is so old, it's practically a classic. Businesses and homeowners alike have been living and operating in the fragile environment where the water continues to move up and in against the land for years. But there's a way to face this threat head on. There's a way to build resilience along the coast. There's a way to fight the flood. Officially speaking, Fight the Flood is a free program that connects property owners facing rising floodwaters with tools and funding to contract with specialized businesses who can help evaluate, design, and build solutions to fight the flood. You could think of it like an online dating service, only the connections we're matching up are property owners to loans and grants, to businesses who can do the work to protect their coastal properties. Thinking you should start considering protecting your property? Does your business provide services to property owners to help them mitigate rising seawater, rain-induced flooding, and more? Explore more at fightthefloodva.com.
On my end, that was a little laggy, and I encourage you to go watch it if it was laggy. It's more powerful when it's not laggy.
Okay. See if I. There we go. Sorry, there. Okay. Well, let me stop sharing really quick. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, I would say while she's working on that, I'll talk. I'll fill the void. So our we're a PDC. We work for our county administrator and our board supervisor and our citizen at large from each one of the counties. They really care about this because it's a big issue to them. Their tax base is actively getting eroded away. Property values are decreasing. The Army Corps has defunded the shallow water dredging program, so our creeks are shoaling in. Winter Harbor, Matthews County, the county I reside in, there's a body of water that is land where there used to be a federally maintained channel, completely obstructing a body of water. So you can't not get in and out to the bay anymore. That has drastic impacts on property values inside of that creek. So these are huge issues for our region. They affect our counties tremendously. It makes it harder to fund the schools and the fire departments and the sheriff's offices. And I'm on the EDA, and that's my degree.
And I'm so sorry, but my computer has frozen. Let's see if
Well,
I
I'll keep
can
talking
get-
while she works on it then. So yeah, the that eroding shoreline bank that we have will literally be filling in the creeks. Coast Guard comes in, pulls out channel markers, puts in shoal markers, and then often comes in and completely removes them. Just again, that massive impact. I watched that happen in my former role on the water for 10 years every day. And that's huge. Smith Point Sea Rescue, which isn't an RPDC area, has been blasting Facebook lately because they can't get in and out of the creek, Cockrell Creek, that they navigate in and out of. So how's that emergency rescue boat going there? And the Coast Guard station in the county I reside in shut down, is no longer a watch standing station. It's just, it's creating an unsafe environment in our region. So we have a lot of political will behind it. That's what drives a lot of this, is the political will of our leaders wanting us to be in this space, wanting us to spend money on private property, because that's expenditure on private property has public impact in our region. And I often, because you get challengers, right? You know, people are like, why are you spending this money on private property? I'm like, well, I could go put pavers in our parking lot at the PDC, or I could do something meaningful with it, or go put in a rain garden at the high school that's going to get bush hogged over in a couple of years. Or I could do this work that protects water quality, helps slow down that erosion, helps the creeks not shoal in.
It's hazard mitigation, it's helping with public health on the septic side of things.
Yep.
Yeah, it's tackling so many priorities all at once.
And then
Smaller.
it takes it out of an Excel sheet and makes it GIS based. So now I can go drop a layer in and filter out and do definition queries and be like, oh, these are all the people that need septic help inside of this box. Makes it a lot easier. And again, not being on an Excel sheet, just improving those inquiries. Did she completely drop off the call? Oh no, this is terrible. I don't have the presentation.
She's probably just joining back in. I wondered if at this point anybody had any questions.
Yep. I'm the one who does as I put it, the actual, the shoveling. I don't usually talk about it. I'm the one who gets it done. So any questions? No. I will say that being successful in grant applications, I see funders coming back because where 20 people will be putting in for this pot of IIJA funds, and it's like, oh, I got a quarter of it, because I'm spending it effectively.
Okay, sorry about that.
No,
Yes, we're back. I'm so sorry. Okay, so we're back to what we offer at as products of Fight the Flood through our businesses and through our technical assistance. So we offer septic assistance. Again, this is one of the largest growing issues that we have. Taylor is our current septic construction manager. We have a number of grants, federal grants that work through, which are focused on low income properties. But we offer repairs, sometimes pump outs if we can get the money, the grant money for it, replacements, upgrades, and we're able to do that through grants, loans, and contractors. One of our biggest growing programs is our shoreline program. So both of our Fight the Flood staff, Taylor, as well as John, they are CBLP certified, Chesapeake Bay Landscape Professional certified. So they're able to offer technical advice when they go on the properties, but they're also able to connect property owners with the grants and the people to do the work that are needed. I'll send you, let's see.
I'll chime in on that. A lot of what I do is try to be fair and impartial. I encourage people to shop it around like you would when you get a tree taken down. Call a few people, let us know if they'll call you back, because that's one of those things. If you don't answer people when they inquire from our ends, then that's going to get you off our approved list of vetted companies. So we do vet the companies before they come through. But yep, I'm going to start this video.
So this video was a video of one of the projects that we did through a company that we brought into Virginia called Natrix. And Natrix can make these 3D concrete, concrete 3D printed shoreline erosion control structures. And the video that you saw was the first time we had implemented this kind of large scale project of these structures on a marsh system that we have that's called the Guinea Marshes. The Guinea Marshes are one of the 3 largest tidal marsh systems in Virginia. And we're very focused on the resilience of those marshes in the system right now. We just received $10 million actually to continue doing work around those marshes, and we're starting that up right now, actually. We also offer stormwater assistance, stormwater planning. This is one of the areas where we haven't moved as much money through that I would like to, more because I just don't think we figured out the right grant pathway for doing this work. And I can do another video, but I basically the goal is in coastal Virginia, we have a lot of issues. We have stormwater flooding, and then we also are just very low with very poor soils, which requires a lot of technical details that are needed from for homeowners who generally just don't understand on how to develop those properties. And so we're able to offer that through this program as well. Now, some of our new and building programs are structural assistance. And we're working on building more streamlined abilities to fund and create larger systems for lifting properties. That is a really difficult space that I've found. And it's really difficult to do the procurement for it. So we put in a grant this year to start working on how can we scale up money movement for structural lifting. Oh, I'll stop there. I see I have a question.
Yeah, I have a question. On the stormwater side of things, what grants are you using there? I know you said you're not spending as much money on that side of things, but we're curious. Are you like partnering with the soil and water conservation districts with VCAP or
Yes.
others?
Yeah, VCAP is our primary. DEQ had funding through IIJA that would allow us to do it, although we chose not to use funding for stormwater. We used it for shorelines mostly and septic. Those 2 programs are the largest. One of the difficulties we're having with the CFPF program, and I will continue to be this in everything that we do, is DCR and the CFPF program has decided that utilization of private property is not an acceptable use of public monies. And this is a really big struggle when 90% of our property is on private property. So we continue to apply for stormwater money through the CFPF program, and we'll continue to kind of ring this bell that you can't have a resilient community if you can't make individual properties resilient. So my intention is to continue pushing harder from a policy perspective on the ability to use CFPF money on private property specifically for stormwater.
We partner a lot with not partner, but we'll fund, like VCAP only fund a portion of it, and then we'll fund often a remaining portion of it for folks, or an additional portion. We had a few in our original CFPF outsets where we got it, and then they kind of changed the rules probably because of us. They just, and I'll speak very frankly to it. We had a project that was a historically Black church and school, and we had a grant award, and it basically we get this an executed contract, and then we don't want to do that anymore. We want to send soil and water out there to look at it and come up with a plan. And they came up with a plan. And then that plan didn't really make a lot of sense. They wanted a change in what we were doing on the stormwater side there. And I called, it's nice to have that professional network and those relationships with the companies, called 3 different stormwater professional engineers and said, hey, how do we accomplish this? This is what Soil and Water sent us. And they're like, that's never going to work there. It's flat as a pancake. Where's the water going to go? So it was that, like, just the chaos of it. And we're still trying to sort that. And we also saw prices increased, the time it took on a CFPF award on a shoreline increased 30% over the 2 years it took to actually get the award. And then the homeowner can't float that additional $20,000 worth of cost where they're having to, provide that match, and just weren't able to do it. So we did actually pair some of our IIJA funds to be able to spread those dollars further so they could end up completing those CFPF awards. So the only one that's pending is that historically Black church and school, that is historical, like it's a historic structure, that they're having stormwater issues and deterioration issues. So we're trying to fix that.
And as a quick answer, the great thing about having our loan program, which I will say is administrative heavy, it takes a really unicorn employee to be able to manage a loan program effectively, but it has made a huge difference in people's ability to either get their match for the grants that they need, or for us to fund a lot of these low income people that would not be able to get a loan otherwise. And we look at our loans not from how much can we make off of offering this loan. So we're able to offer it at half of prime, and to people who maybe wouldn't otherwise be eligible for a loan, because we're trying to do the resilience work and the water quality work through it. So structural is the next.
Homes that have been recurrently flooded, that have had multiple claims by your federal flood insurance, FEMA recognizes we need to elevate those structures. You need to move the structure vertical. So if you move the structure vertical, the water can pass directly underneath your foundation and your entire investment is protected. So the Fight the Flood program has attracted companies that have expertise in elevating residential structures. So if you're lucky enough to qualify for federal funding through FEMA, you've got some grant money that's coming. If not, you have to pay for that generally yourself, and that can be costly. And so you want to make sure that the company that you hire or the companies that you interview are qualified, they have experience in the space. And so the companies that we have vetted for structural modifications that can provide structural solutions for your home under the Fight the Flood program have been vetted and have an experienced portfolio of elevating residential structures.
And again, our next step is really learning how to move money through the system for elevations quickly. It's a regulatory heavy process, and so we have some grant requests out to start working on that. And then we're working on parametric insurance. We just received a grant through CFPF for parametric insurance, which is basically insurance that will cover everything on your property that's not currently covered by your flood insurance. We started this process by talking to insurance programs that were covering reefs in Florida, and said, if we can cover a reef in Florida, why can't we cover our living shorelines or our septics? Again, because, well, this video will show it. Right now, the only thing on your flood-prone property that is covered by insurance is your home. If you experience flooding and you do have a septic problem, or you put in a shoreline and a storm happens to affect it, right now there is no insurance coverage for that, which puts a lot of risk and liability on our tax base. So we have a few companies that we're working with right now. We're putting in tide sensors, the specific tide sensors, water sensors that they need in order to start building those policies to start bringing parametric insurance to our region. And this one's quick.
Homeowners generally have two types of insurance. You can get FEMA flood insurance on your structure, and that will generally only insure your home. You can have it on contents or just the structure, either one of those two. The max insurance coverage is $250,000. And then homeowners insurance, which insures your home against wind and fire and other types of peril that are not water related. Outside of purchasing your home and your cars, the next largest investment that the homeowner will generally make is their engineered septic system. 6 months after it's installed, a tropical depression comes through and the whole septic system, treatment media, computer brain is underwater for 4 hours. Parametric insurance is an emerging type of insurance that has been utilized in the Gulf to insure coral reefs. reefs. If you can insure a coral reef, can we insure a living shoreline? Can we insure a $60,000 engineered septic system? And they said, absolutely, you can insure anything that you want with parametric insurance. Parametric insurance insures against the likelihood of the event happening. So you can put a $50,000 policy on your $50,000 septic system. The parametric insurance company is gambling that that unit will not be flooded. If the floodwaters trigger or trip whatever the predetermined level is, your payout is automatic, regardless of whether or not your asset was harmed. So if you have a $50,000 policy on your engineered septic system and it flooded, but no damage was done, you're still getting a $50,000 check because the insurance company gambled and they lost. And so that's what we try to do through the Fight the Flood program, is to bring more of these companies, parametric insurance companies, into Virginia that can begin to write resiliency-based policies against whatever asset the homeowner is trying to insure against.
So we just received we didn't get all what that we asked for. We received the money for the sensors, but we received the money for the sensors and we're going to start putting sensors in. We have a few companies who are interested in utilizing that data by partnering with ODU and VIMS to start creating potentially what those policies could look like. Okay, we're almost there. So Fight the Flood today, we've moved about $52 million in direct loans and grants through our system. We have about 274 properties in our program, and we have a total of 47 businesses. We've received about 230 survey submissions. And here you can see kind of all the dots on the map of where people are telling us are the largest resilience. So again, those low-lying marsh areas there in the Mobjack Bay and mostly Matthews and Gloucester are our biggest. And we asked them in their survey, do you feel like your flood urgency is urgent, somewhat urgent and long-term needed? And as you can see, the majority of our people come into us and say, we have a very urgent need that we need addressed right now. And that is the difficulty of kind of relying on grants, because you have to go where the grants tell you to go. You can't go based off of where the need actually is. And so what are we?
That's the part I've had to cook into Fight the Flood, so it kind of educates them as they're filling out the survey. In the email that they get after, in the mailer that they get after, we'll continue to monitor for them, but there aren't any available right now. Grant can take years to months, may never arrive. It's that constant. It helps cut down on the human interaction that I have to have, which is a tremendous amount of human interaction that I have to have. Thus the capacity building grant that is affording John to work with me.
So right now we are our entire agency is 90% grant funded, including my position. So we, we're working on figuring out ways for sustainable financing in the future that we can retain these programs without having to solely rely on grants. And we have a few nature-based markets that we're going after to start creating consistent revenue. But we did apply for DCR for another 5 years of the capacity for those staff members. We have a lot of rural low-income people that we're working with who do not want to communicate through emails or text messages. They want to show up at your office, they want to look you in the eyes, and they want to talk to you. And that is a big capacity need that we need to maintain for our members. We're continuing to create these economic and business integrations, again, for sustainability of the program. And we already have some bills moving through this year. 2 of our bills made it through the flood committee this week. One on encouraging the beneficial use of dredge material, and another on putting an advisory board over the VMRC that allows more policy input and policy oversight from a VMRC perspective. We want to continue working on measuring and communicating the impact that we're making, as well as the needs that are being given to us by our members. So we are not dictating what the needs are. We are letting our people tell us what our needs are, and our goal is to go after those needs. And what we need to do is explain to our grantors, to the state, these are the specific needs. Can you start creating, help us create solutions to meet them? And then again, we're building our regional dredge program, and this will be integrated into the Fight the Flood program in the future for both financing sustainability, but also this creates a new pathway for us to use dredge material to create resilience in our sinking marshes and to do our living shorelines. So that's our program. I'm sorry it was so, so the presentations didn't go as well. I'll continue working on that, but I'm happy to answer any questions or any conversations that you guys want to have.
Thank you both so much for sharing about this. This program is so interesting to me, and it's just massive what you're able to do. I had one question, just to clarify, on the identifying homeowners in need, and specifically the septic part of the world. Is that done through the survey and how that informs the GIS map? That's how you know who's in need? Okay. I was like, was there a vulnerability study or something else done along those lines?
We also go. I'll let Taylor answer the survey question, and then I'll answer very quickly.
I built additional surveys. So basically we have it 3. You lose some with that because it becomes more fractured. The answers are not the same, but basically our main original survey, which has grown a little bit and modified, was much more complex. And then we have a living shoreline, essentially we call it assistance request. It's survey 123 inside of GIS. That is now fractured a little bit because it has a septic survey that is standalone and a living shoreline survey that is standalone. And those are meant to be far simpler, because often what I find that I was the one connecting with these people that were calling. We want everyone to be able to access it. And the larger survey was much more complex and, blows out a lot of different questions. This one's, you have a septic problem? You know what kind of septic system you have? Like, do you think, and we had to craft it carefully. Do you think you may be low income? Provide us your phone number so we can screen you further. We don't ask them for the amount, just certain things we don't want to grab off, and put on our GIS-based database, which isn't public, but still, just the working for a government agency, you don't want to ask for certain things in a survey. But we come up with creative ways to kind of ask the question and then get the answer we need and then connect with them. A lot of working with the local health departments. I've got most of them on speed dial, even the higher ups, and vice versa, to try to help some folks. So.
And then VIMS just recently came out with a new mapping system that shows vulnerability of septic systems in and I think it's available in Adapt VA. If it's not, it's available on the VIMS Center for Coastal Resources Management. And they took VDH permits, laid them on the map, and then you can move sea level rise projections across those, and it'll show you which septics it thinks is going to be, which septics are going to be impacted and when. So that just came out about 3 or 4 months ago. And we're using that data to apply for additional septic assistance with CFPF for this round, which is due in 10 days.
Good luck with that. That's good to know. I wonder, is that just in the coastal zone, or does that go expand across Virginia?
That's a good question. I'm so coastal focused that I don't even look outside of the coastal portion of Virginia a lot of times. So, but I can send you the link if you'd like to see it.
Sure, yeah, I'm trying to find it though. Are there any other questions?
I have a question. On your second to last slide there was like a map or something of appeared to be where financial resources had gone, I guess. It looked like, I don't know, this is more just an individual curiosity, but it looked like there was more projects on the Rappahannock. Maybe I'm wrong about that. So I'm curious if there was a side of the peninsula that is more prone, or maybe there's more people that live there, and so you get more, I mean, I assume closer to the bay maybe, but anyway, I was just curious about that.
So that actually is most likely. So a lot of the money that we received from the federal government this year from the EPA wanted us to work on the Rappahannock because they called it a most affected basin. And so we did a lot of marketing on the Rappahannock saying, hey guys, we have money, let's move it through to your system. So most likely that's an artifact of us pushing our marketing and our money in that direction.
Yeah. I would say your areas with heaviest erosion are on the bay side. On the Rappahannock, you do have, once you get up it a little bit and you get out of the low marsh at the very beginning, it's what I describe as like those heavy cliff banks with heavy erosion, especially on the main river. But even up a lot of the creeks, there's like heavy erosion. And then the conventional knowledge, and I don't know that you all don't have as much coastal focus, but you know, the knowledge I've seen from VIMS is, you know, north facing bank, shaded, it'll shade out. It's not a good fit for a living shoreline. We put some in there, and the grasses a year later, you know, the grasses won't survive. Grasses are thriving and doing a great job. So it's fun, and we have maintain a really good relationship with VIMS. I say we like to have those varying like views, but we take the academics view as well. It's just exactly what you're describing. Mostly driven from, that's where the money is available. Predominantly outside of that, it is loans.
Thank you. Any other questions? Before we transition to PDC updates? Okay. Well, if that's all right, with you all to share your slides and contact information, I can follow up in the email so that everybody has access to that in case they think of anything. But thank you both so much for joining us today to learn about this awesome program. Really appreciate it. Feel free to stick around with us or hop off. But thanks. All right.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I will switch over to sharing my screen again. Oh, still on YouTube. Okay. Here we go. I don't know what, okay, there we go. Okay, so moving on, I wanted to provide a quick program update on our septic assistance program. I presented on this before in these meetings, so you might recall some of the background information, but this program primarily supports low-income homeowners with septic system maintenance, repair, and replacement work. And after some contract delays with DEQ, the program was intended to start in January. It actually started in August and open to the public. And we are partnering with local housing foundations to process homeowner applications and local soil and water conservation districts through their watershed-specific septic program to provide additional assistance to qualifying homeowners. The goal is to complete about 35 septic projects, but it's really based off of homeowner need and the type of applications that we receive. We are measuring environmental impact by taking the model pollution reduction from each of these types of projects and submitting it to DEQ's best management practice warehouse, which helps model progress towards Chesapeake Bay pollution reduction goals in our region. And this program also serves to protect public health. Of the 140,000 available specifically for the project implementation outside of administrative funding, we have at this point expended just over 20% of the implementation funds, and we are actively identifying homeowners in need by, again, working with the housing foundations. The Virginia Department of Health is aware of our program, and just recently we've launched targeted ads and promotions, including radio and digital ads with Monticello Media. And this information has been shared with each of the local newsletters and communication staff to help us get the word out. And we're also in communication with local food banks. But if anybody has suggestions on how to get the word out further to the community, please let me know, and I will actually follow up with the Canva link if you want to share any additional graphics through your channels and with your network. And we do hope to continue this program in the future, but the funding source that was used this year will not be available to our BDCs next year. The DBQIIJA funding has a pause in 2026 and potentially might open back up in 2027 from what we've heard. And then next, a recap of our Rain Barrel Workshop program, which was funded through the same DEQ-IIJA grant intended for 2025. We held 8 workshops across the region this year in partnership with the Soil and Water Conservation Districts, Charlottesville staff, and the James River Association, really helping to provide the barrels and instruction at many of these workshops. Over the course of the whole season, we've provided 113 rain barrels to residents to install on their properties. And similarly to the septic program, all of this information is submitted to DEQ's warehouse to model pollution reduction. And this community-based program, I think, is such a major success because of the partnerships that are involved. We're able to promote water conservation, reduce storm water runoff at the household level, and educate homeowners about how their property connects to the river in the Chesapeake Bay. And residents take an active role in learning sustainable practices, and it allows our partners like soil and water conservation districts, master gardeners, and JRA to share about their specific conservation funding and education opportunities, like the River Hero Homes program and Virginia Conservation Assistance program. So just a big thank you to all of our partners that have made this possible. And additionally to all of the private businesses that have offered space and staff space at no cost. And we're really excited to hopefully continue this program next year with funding from the Middle James Roundtable.
Bella, Todd had a question about, I think with respect to the septic program that has been put on that
Yes, it has been shared. I don't know if it's actually gone live yet, but I did hear back from Caitlin that is intended to be, and it sounds like your hands raised. Okay.
Sure.
Looks good.
I'm good.
Cool.
Hey, Isabella, this is Ann. I'm jumping in real quick from TJ. For those who don't know, this is Ann goes with Thomas Jefferson Soil and Water Conservation District. Hey, Isabella, do you think it would be helpful if maybe we also do, maybe our staff could do a similar type of couple of slides that show the septic work that we've been doing, which is in addition to the program that you have, and then also do maybe a VCAP presentation that shows where the funding is going locally and for what kind of projects?
I love that idea. I think that sounds awesome. Maybe for our next meeting, we can coordinate on that.
Yeah, that would be great. Because we are not eligible for the Living Shorelines funding. So, and that is gobbling up, not that it's a great program. I mean, it's obviously very important, but it does gobble up a lot of the funding that we have available for us in our area. And so maybe we can talk a little bit about that as well, but also just kind of showcase, there are multiple septic programs going on, and yeah.
I think that sounds great. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
All right, Courtney, yeah, so Lisa Hyatt would be good for septic, and Megan, of course, for the VCAP program.
Okay, sounds great.
I'll let them know that I signed them up.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. Then my last update before I pass it over to Logan is that we are leading the Thomas Jefferson Solid Waste Planning Unit's Solid Waste Plan Update, which is mandatory every 5 years. And this is due to be completed by next October in 2026. This solid waste planning unit does not include Louisa or Nelson. They're part of other ones, just as a heads up, but the public survey to inform the plan has been live since the beginning of November. And we have actively shared it across numerous channels, including direct emails to the Solid Waste Plans Technical Advisory Committee, jurisdiction communications, newsletters, social media on the TJPDC accounts, if you want to share that, and a dedicated press release. We'll also be sharing that with community groups coming up shortly. And this survey will remain open through December 15th. And again, I'll share a Canva design link in the follow-up in case you can share it. And I just wanted to take a quick moment to show you some of the preliminary information that is coming out of the survey. So far, we have 83 responses. So pretty good response rate. I'll just show quickly. Was moving around easily earlier. I was surprised to see that 42% of the respondents are from Fluvanna County. Love to see that turnout. And then 23 and 22 from the city of Charlottesville. Trying to promote that in green a little bit more to have some more representation there. Some things that have been interesting so far to me are, of course, not jumping for me, but what the primary motivations are for people recycling, and then what are some of the major things that inhibit them to be able to recycle. So if I can get to it, we're close. So primary motivations are kind of as you would expect: sustainability, environmental protection, just out of habit, or it's efficient. Things that might stop people, over 40% of the people that have responded says nothing can prevent them. But those that maybe are, it's uncertainty a lot of times about what is recyclable or which bins to use. There's a lack of trust in the system that things aren't even being recycled anyway. Lack of space or just insufficient collection locally. And then starting to see from the public what might be helpful in correcting that. But my plan is once the survey closes in December to synthesize this a bit more for everybody so that you can take a look at the data by jurisdiction there. And yeah, that's all for that. I'll pass it over to you again to share on the regional water supply plan.
Sounds good. Yeah, with the regional water supply plan, we got additional funding that was available, non-competitive money for the leads for each RPU from EU. So that money will kick in January and run till June. Not a ton of money, but enough to sort of keep things ticking along. We are still working through, and I think we'll be working through for quite a long time now. The data workbooks that DEQ has provided people. There's lots of questions that people have for me and that I have for other people, and it's a sort of been an interesting discovery mission for that reason. So yeah, so we're still going to be in that phase for quite a bit, which is fine. I think a lot of other PDCs are having similar consternation in terms of, you know, a little bit of the blind leading the blind. And we're actually going to all start meeting right here with the other RPU leads. So that's kind of a fun development. Perhaps the most relevant thing, I think, we are going to, so far our meetings have been with like technical staff from localities and water authorities. That's because we've been sort of wading through these data heavy things. But that's not all of the planning process. Obviously, moving forward, we will want other input. And so in January, date to be determined still, we're going to have like a more public facing, public in sort of air quotes, but more open to other folks from other sectors. So not explicitly like, you know, working with water authority data. So we can get more input on the direction of the plan. But we just haven't gotten into that phase yet. So that will become a more regular element, but, that meeting in January will be to sort of get everyone up to speed, and start to build out a like larger network of people. So, I'll probably have Bella send something along to this like listserv as well to spread it out to people who you think might be useful to attend those meetings. And we can get a nice group for that. So anyway, that's the main update.
Thank you. And now it's just the roundtable. So, I'll stop sharing so we can all see each other. But yeah, let's see who's left. Savannah County, do you want to share any updates on what's going on there?
So we don't have a lot to report, and it appears that Alex has jumped off the meeting. We are working with Albemarle County. And actually Alex is taking the lead on that. Let's see if I can find some notes on that real quick. Basically working to get a request into DCR to get a scenic river designation for the Hardware River into the scenic river system. That's and I think you're familiar with that process, Isabella. And I think it's really all we have to report at this point.
That's exciting. I'm trying to remember the last I heard, but I feel like the letter was submitted officially to DCR. So hopefully that is moving along.
Yeah.
But great to hear. Great to hear. I don't know if we have anyone. Oh yeah, Jim's here. Any updates from Green? He stepped away. All right, Albemarle.
Hi. So I won't speak to a lot of things that Greg Harper has been leading on. I can say, I'm kind of referencing the spreadsheet that you tend to share out with folks.
Share that if helpful.
That we, for our flood resilience planning, we submitted a request for delayed submission. And so we got a deadline extension into the middle of 2026. Mainly so that it can be aligned with our Resilient Together process, which is the broader
That's great.
climate adaptation resilience work. So we got that approved. We are in the process of writing our climate adaptation and resilience plan alongside UVA and City of Charlottesville. And we have sort of a joint contractor who's leading on writing all three plans, and then we're approaching the point where those three plans are kind of going to disaggregate and start to be their own things. One thing that we had reported out was, this was several months ago, a grant termination from EPA that was really focused on supporting community engagement of marginalized communities in the area through local nonprofits. And so the city and county have come to an agreement on moving forward the core part of that work through our own funding mechanisms. So we're jointly funding that $50,000 each for $100,000. So that should be wrapped up, I expect, by February. Yeah, I think that's the big stuff.
Thank you. Charlottesville folks.
Okay, let's see. We were going to have a work session this past Monday with City Council on the environmental review project. But we got bumped off the agenda. We have still made it to the Planning Commission, and they provided some good feedback in October. So I think we'll be rescheduled for January. But a lot of it is coordinating on the various projects mentioned in the spreadsheet, including the floodplain management program evaluation, looking at doing more of the urban forest management plan through internal funding. So hopefully that can still move forward. And then also coordinating, City Council recently approved funding for an infrastructure study for the city. So that would include stormwater management, along with transportation and other infrastructure. So a lot of our work is coordinating internally on those projects as they move forward.
Yeah, it's good to hear. What is the environmental review project?
Yes, so it's sort of the umbrella project for a lot of those other kind of grants and projects that are going on, and also looking at our regulations to make infill development more feasible while also balancing environmental protection. It, it has a much broader scope now, but it originally started with some development challenges on smaller infill sites, especially with stormwater management.
You have anything? Anyone else online? Anne, do you want to share updates from the soil and water?
Oop, hold off, I dropped off. Hey, so I don't have a slide or anything to pull up, but yes, I can tell you that we received another record year of funding for our agricultural program. This year it's 7.4 million that we have to offer agricultural producers between now and June 30th. We are, I think, have allocated about 35% of that funding already. And we don't know that we'll hit the 7.4 target. But if anybody knows anybody at all, now is the time to do it. We do think that funding is going to be slowing down, maybe not quite next year, but certainly in the future years. So, and I do know that at some point they will regulate. So if you all can encourage producers, anybody who has any kind of farm in our district boundaries, which is the same as the PDCs, except we don't cover green counting, but the Culpeper Soil and Water Conservation District has funding for green. So Thomas Jefferson covers, of course, Louisa, Nelson, Albemarle, Fluvanna, and then the city of Charlottesville as well. So on that note, we do have our Envirothon training competition this weekend at Graves Mountain, and there are 247 kids enrolled. So it's almost double the number of participants this year. So we're pretty excited about that. There's certainly a lot of growing interest, I think, for watershed type of education. So if anybody wants to volunteer or help, I know I don't know if RCA is on this call or not, but I know Lisa Wittenborn's always looking for volunteers. We are always looking for volunteers for that kind of work. We're also co-hosting with Extension, a livestock production workshop down in Nelson County this Saturday. So that's a joint effort with the Extension agent, Kim Bryant, down in Nelson County, and us. And those are just kind of some of the bigger highlights. We do have a pretty still robust waiting list for septic. Isabella, you've probably been getting a few phone calls for the ones that we can't fund. Our funding is limited to the Thai watershed and the hardware, and a little watershed over in Louisa called the Gold Mine. We used to have district-wide funding, but we continue to ask for funding for that because we continue to get pretty substantial waiting list for people needing assistance with septic. And then, as I mentioned in the chat, the VCAP program has almost run out of money already, and we got a long way to go before June. So unfortunately, we are going to be turning down a whole lot of folks this year. Up until June of this past year, we've been almost able to fund every project that came forward, but we have almost tapped out of the entire funding at our local level. And I believe we'll be pretty close to not having any funding past January for Charlottesville and Albemarle. And then just so you all know, those two localities provide additional funding to us in addition to the state program. But the state program is only offering like 150,000 statewide per month. So there, and the only projects that are getting funded at the statewide level are the ones that rank above 90, which are coming in like permeable paver projects, probably living shorelines, because they do tend to have a higher ranking. But that means then a lot of our local projects for rain gardens or for conservation landscaping, they probably will not get picked up by the state funding at all this year for the rest of the year because they just don't typically rank as high as some of those larger projects. So we're unfortunately going to be kind of shifting gears for the winter and the spring. Megan will probably be doing some other work because it's going to get slow for us just purely because we're going to have to tell people we do not have any funding. She still will be available to go out and provide technical assistance. So if anybody just wants help, designing or coming up with ideas, certainly we can continue to work on that. And Isabella, I'm going to try to get the state association's statement that they put in their legislative agenda for the extra $8 million in funding for that, as well as our septic language as well. So that, and I believe you already have done your legislative agenda yourselves, but it probably wouldn't hurt for you guys to know what we're asking for. So
Absolutely, I can move David in on that.
yeah,
I was
and
curious, when the last time there was district-wide septic funding from, I'm assuming DEQ?
yes, it was DEQ, and I believe it was the WQIF funding source, so Water Quality Enhancement Fund. I believe that's where it came from. I want to say it ended 5 years ago. So it's been a while. And we just continue to get requests. And unfortunately, because ours is restricted to the TMDL area, the implementation plan areas, we don't have district-wide funding, even though we know there's, we still get calls with people who have straight pipes, a lot of low income. I don't think we have any $87,000 septic issues, but I would say that we've had a handful approach, 40, 50,000, that are close to waterways, or they have low, groundwater tables. So they have to do like alternative type systems. So, but Lisa and Sarah when is your next quarterly meeting?
February 19th.
Okay, so Lisa and Sarah could give a really good history and update on our septic program. And I think that would be, really helpful because, I think that if you are east of 95, they have different types of funding and different rules. But west, it seems like we're all struggling to try to cobble together septic funding. And it would be nice if it was a more coordinated, like kind of holistic effort. But maybe we need to demonstrate our need. Maybe we need to get together and demonstrate our need better, not only with our district and your PDC, but maybe all the districts and all the PDCs west of 95. That could be some kind of program. Yeah. Because it seems like we're piecemealing it together.
From what I've seen in the data, it's like over 70% of septic systems are reaching the point of failure because most were installed over 30 years ago. It's like we need to get these upgraded online and then it can kind of level out a little bit once we've got most people on board, and then it's just more about encouraging maintenance. But yeah, this is a statewide issue and it needs to be addressed because it puts a lot of people out for a long time, considering systems can be 40 to, what do they say, $80,000 in the coastal areas. That's insane.
Yeah.
Who can pay for that?
Yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to that presentation.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, and because you guys are doing the work and we're doing the work, I imagine and I know the health department, it's probably confusing also for landowners on where to go, who to ask. But then we can't help everybody, you can't help everybody. So it would be nice, instead of this piecemeal approach, if we could figure out a way to kind of have truly like a holistic, even if different organizations are involved, but still like a clear messaging, kind of like with the flood, that presentation earlier, where it's like more coordinated kind of communication. So
I like that. We should brainstorm. I'm gonna give you a call because I got a really interesting idea at the Chesapeake Bay Watershed Forum about these conservation speed dating workshops where like PEC is partnering with other groups that have funding they either outreach to specific landowners that they think might be interested and have a big property where there's a lot of opportunity, or they just open it up and then before the meeting, they print out maps of their property and then have all the partners come in to help them like brainstorm and see where they could apply different conservation programs. And they do a post survey, and apparently like it was either 70 to 90% of homeowners that participate end up going for a grant program after that. And I was like, that is so cool. We need something like that here.
Yeah.
I don't know if PDC is doing that in Albemarle, but if we can grow that to the rest of the region.
Well, they've done this speed dating thing, but it seems like to me that there are very limited number of landowners participating. So it just seems like a lot of effort for for folks like us to go and then only have like 10 people. To me, it needs to be, I mean, if we're gonna go to that, why not have it be like like a much larger event? Because yeah, doing speed dating with like 10 or 15 people, that's a lot of work when, we could have just done that with phone calls.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. Well, we'll talk.
Yeah.
All right,
sounds good.
well, thank you all for being here today, and I know it's right before the holidays. I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving, and if I don't see you before Christmas, happy holidays.
Hey, wait, Isabel, one more thing. Did everybody see the comment I put in the thing about Chesapeake Bay Journal?
Oh,
Is anybody working in the hardware besides us?
Not sure, what do you mean by that?
Well, the Chesapeake Bay Journal apparently is doing an article about the hardware watershed. And they just reached out to me this morning and they gave me 3 time slots, tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday to talk. So we're gonna pull together statistics on like how many buffer acres, how many miles of streams we protected, how many septic system, repairs we've done, replacements. So we're gonna give them some statistics, but I've reached out to James River Association because they do some buffer work down there as well. But I didn't know if you guys had anything that, good stories or septic projects or anything at all that you've done down in there that might be interesting for a story about the hardware. So if you ever haven't, yeah.
Hey, Ann, could you maybe send me an email just to remind me, and maybe I could see, I mean, our county administrator might know something,
Okay.
but I can't promise anything.
Okay, because I hate for them to write a story and miss, like if we've done 100 septic and Isabella, you've done 50 septic, that's, I want to try to make sure that they're capturing everything and not just little bits and pieces. Todd, are you putting your email in there?
I'm doing it as we speak.
I can see you typing. All right. Don't close out on me, Isabella, until I grab it.
Well, and there is the Friends of the Heart.
Yeah, and if I could learn to type.
Oh, and Lisa Wittenborn, I need to reach out to her too. Well, maybe not. I don't know if she's got any crossover. I mean, I know she's a Rivanna, but
so
sometimes.
Go ahead, Ann.
Go ahead. Anyway, I just want anybody who's got involvement. I got it, Todd.
Right.
I just don't want us to be the only ones in the article, and then somebody be like, "How come they didn't ask us?" It's a better story if there's more partners can contribute, I think, but.
That's true. I'll double check, but I don't think we funded anything there. We've mostly been working with Nelson County so far on the septic funding. And there is the Friends of the Hardware River, which is just like 2 community members, I think, but they might have something in connection. I don't know.
All right, and Todd, I'm going to forward you the email that I got, just so you know who this person is. And if you all, I mean, I don't see why you couldn't reach out to her directly too, but I'm just going to pop that over to you so you know what she told us.
Okay, very good.
Or ask us anyway. Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you all. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
For hosting.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for being here. Yeah, thank you. I'm scared you off yet.
What's that?
I said we haven't scared you off yet.
Not yet, not yet. Is there a meeting after this facility?